Hi, my name is Bree Anderson, and I chose to focus on Chapter 5, revolving around the social reform in the Progressive Era. Starting from the early 1890s, the Progressive Era movement was destined to occur. Industrialization, urbanization, immigration, and political corruption were causing horrifying problems in the United States. Finally, enough recognition of the need for social activism and political reform launched America into the Progressive Era. With the booming industrial economy, the exploitation of workers was at an all-time high, especially for immigrant workers. Long hours, unsanitary conditions, and deadly accidents are just among the few problems these workers faced. Due to the influx of immigrants in the United States seeking a better life, they were taken advantage of by industries searching for cheap labor workers. The working conditions were so harsh that one-fourth of workers were killed or injured on the job. Women and children were also among the workers who were exploited by major industries. The women's movement focused mainly on women's suffrage, along with building better schools, regulating child labor, and much more. Women wanted equal rights and their own personal freedom without having to be connected to a man. During World War I, Woodrow Wilson agreed to support the women's movement, which led to the powerful rise of feminism. Protective labor laws were developed in order to protect women because they were much more vulnerable than men. There are many helpful policies that came out of the Progressive Era, which would in turn lead to more progression for the United States, such as regulations, mothers' pensions, workmen's compensation, establishment of social work professions, women's suffrage, building a national network of hospitals, and the establishment of juvenile courts. With these progressive movements taking place, there were many regulations that passed in protection of social welfare for the betterment of Americans. That being said, there was still much more to accomplish in the 1900s. Racism was and is still a major downfall of the United States. Though equal rights have now been passed, there is a never-ending war on inequality. The end of the Progressive Era was brought on by the distraction of World War I. Prohibition gave progressives a bad name, and many people got tired of having activists try to save the world and telling people how they should act. Though the Progressive Era ended, it's not to say it didn't make a major impact on the world. The government was regulating big businesses, democracy was spiking, and there were crucial improvements in US cities. Activists have always been able to push the United States in the right direction. However, there is and most likely always will be room for growth.